came here, I guess maybe 5 years ago now, as a PhD student. So I was accepted in the program, and I've progressed to where my coursework is finished, but I'm writing my dissertation, which is in the Gospel of John. I'm looking at why the author of John uses the image of Moses, the serpent on the pole, to represent what God accomplishes for us on the cross. So I'm working on that as a student, and then I also now have been for almost exactly a year now, been the coordinator for the Doctor of Ministry students. So when Dr. Grafton left as head of the graduate school, they sort of split his position into two, and I help the Doctor of Ministry students navigate their program. So I am sort of an advisor to some of them. I certainly help them when they're working on their projects, and then I can provide some help for them to navigate the program. So since coming to LTSP as a student, those first 2 years were just fabulous because the education is so cohort and conversationally based. So I've been in classes with students from different traditions, students from, we had a class on reading scripture with students from Westminster, so there were some, theological seminary, which is a much different viewpoint than us, so really good conversations about how to read scripture. I'm often challenged by students who tend to be more Lutheran than I am, who they bring in Martin Luther into everything, and Martin Luther, of course, is a really good voice to listen to, so I've had good conversations. I've also had wonderful opportunities to be a teaching assistant, so I assisted Dr. Heen with the New Testament courses for 3 semesters and led discussion groups, so I'm in a room with, Baptist students who are older black women and young, gay men, and we've been sitting in a room talking about, Jesus saying, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder, and we have to figure out together how we can talk respectfully about these things that we often disagree. So it's been a place to really dig deep into my bibliography is joyously, 250 books, dig deep into scholarly writings, but also have conversations about what does what we're learning mean in our context in the world. So when I finished my 2 years of residential coursework here at LTSP, then I pursued a part-time pastoral call because my husband and I needed a little bit more income. And we actually approached the congregation he was called to see if we could split the call. And so since then, I've been serving as a half-time pastor while I'm writing my dissertation and also being the coordinator of Doctor of Ministry Studies. But one of the things that's been really interesting for me as a pastor, my congregation is in a context where there used to be a lot of manufacturing, milling, and mining, but all that is gone. And so they're in a place that used to be really wealthy. There's some beautiful houses there. Good infrastructure, but not many jobs anymore, and so people are really stressed. I think it's interesting in my congregational context how church is changing, and we have people there who are really resistant to change, I think really afraid of change, and how to move them gently from one place to another without leaving anyone behind. And I'm really hopefully prayerful for theological education that we can do that too, that we need to find ways to prepare students for the future, and there's such a need for good pastors, for good readers of scripture, for good theologians out there. And how can we move things from where they are to where they need to be and still not leave anybody behind? And it's a challenge. I think I've actually taught a couple of online classes now for Wartburg Seminary as a adjunct faculty, and online can be a very exciting way to engage with students. I mean, the conversations are amazing, and you get done and you feel like you know this person. There's so much technology to help. I always video my introduction. I can do brief lectures with narrated PowerPoint, and then they just go to town and discuss, and there's some amazing things, and you get that same joy of it. You get the students' aha moments about a passage in scripture, even if it's coming through reading a post online. So that certainly is a very valuable opportunity. I just did the colloquium with the Doctor of Ministry students where they come on campus, the new students for an introduction, the students who are about to start their projects for a chance to get together and discuss their projects and work collaboratively on their proposals. So that intense week of bringing people together can really make strong relationships, the beginning of strong relationships that they can pursue again through electronic means after that. So there's a lot of exciting ways to teach that work just as well as classroom teaching. It's been fun because I didn't have much knowledge about the Doctor of Ministry program before I became the coordinator of it, but it's been really fun to delve into. It's such a diverse program in terms of students we get. So we get lots of students from all different theological traditions, and they interact with each other about practical ministry topics. I think there's so many ways that you see students adding depth to their ministry through the work that they do as Doctor of Ministry students. And we have had a student who just graduated who worked out a new way to combine like a fellowship dinner and a communion service. He thought it was odd that they'd go to worship, they'd have communion, and then they'd immediately go down in the basement and eat a meal together. Why are we separating them? The communion is a meal. So he worked out a liturgy to do a love feast. We have a student who works with streetwalkers in Camden, New Jersey, and her stories are just heartrending, and yet she's there as somebody that those people can trust, and she has so much to say about their personhood that I think those of us who never experienced that side of life need to hear. So her voice is really valuable, and she really struggles. Some of my students really struggle with like I did, with their ability to be students, and that's one of the joys of my position, is that I can encourage them and help them and just give them some, okay, don't think about this yet. Think about this, help them walk through the program. We have other students that just breathe through because they're so, they're just so ready, and then it's just fun for them, I think, I hope. And we get, we know they're pastors, so we don't bother them during Advent, we don't bother them during Lent, and when they resurface, we're there to help them get done what they need to do. We have a really great, I think, program for military chaplains too. We work really hard so that chaplains who are deployed or have really fixed time commitments can work their program in a flexible manner. We even let them do their first colloquium online, and I developed a website for them to do that this year. So there's, it's just a really great program for getting people from all different contexts together to talk. And then we work really hard to help them find the time to do it. And then we encourage them to keep finding the time so that they can finish. It's a great program.